This is the PowerPoint presentation for the course Emerging Healthcare Technologies and Innovation. And today I'm going to talk about ethical considerations for healthcare technology. And first I want to talk about personal smartphone and its implications on healthcare. We all know that smartphone use in professional settings has been increasing in recent years, and there are some benefits and disadvantages that result from this increase. The use of mobile devices has offered nurses new ways to conduct professional communication, easier access to decision support, and expedited, efficient consultation. However, there are some risks associated with smartphone use that may include privacy breaches, insecure data storage, and physician or hospital failure to obtain patient consent. As healthcare continues its journey into digital communication and telehealth, it brings some familiar tools and skills in the form of values, such as privacy, confidentiality, and autonomy. Next, I want to talk about unethical uses of smartphones in healthcare. A good example can be taking medical photographs, and once again, taking pictures can violate the privacy and confidentiality of the patient. Therefore, it's recommended that only hospital equipment be used and informed consent be obtained to avoid ethical misconduct like that. Another good example is texting. Texting in the healthcare setting may result in a nurse distraction, and that can increase medication errors. It's very similar to distraction while texting and driving. Texting may promote inattention or partial attention, allowing a person to physically be in one place and mentally stay in another one. So when a healthcare professional or a nurse using a smartphone during patient care, they may not pick up signs that the patient is deteriorating, or they may not respond to alarming signals from monitors or other healthcare professionals. And lastly is hacking. Hacking and stealing smartphones may breach the security of the patient. Images and data can be shared widely on social network, and information can become public quite easily without sufficient safeguards. Next, I want to talk about potential benefits of appropriate smartphone use in healthcare. First benefit is communication and consulting that can happen through video conferencing, voice calling, text, emails, multimedia messaging, or social networking. Another benefit is health record maintenance and access EHRs and EMRs, CDSS, that stand for Clinical Decision Support System, electronic prescribing, coding, and billing. And lastly, informational resources. The nurse may have access to medical textbook through her smartphone, or medical journals, any type of guidelines or drug reference guides. Judicious use of social media and its implication in healthcare. The use of social media is expanding exponentially, and many social media tools are available for nurses and healthcare providers, including social networking platforms, media sharing sites, and online chat rooms. These tools can improve professional networking, patient care, and patient education. However, they also present potential risks to patients and healthcare providers regarding distribution of poor quality information, damage to a professional image, breaches of patient privacy, violation of personal professional boundaries, and some legal issues. Nurses are allowed to use social media in their personal lives. This may include having a Facebook page or Twitter page. Still, it's imperative not to mention patient by name or provide any information or details that could identify them in order to protect patient rights to privacy. Next slide, I want to talk about appropriate use of social media in healthcare and what are the benefits. First of all, the benefit is collaboration between the healthcare professionals and exchange information. Social media provides opportunities for healthcare practitioners to dialogue with their colleagues and keep up with the latest healthcare developments, even a long distance separate them. For example, social media can connect healthcare practitioners in third world countries to healthcare practitioners from advanced locations, and they can stream the surgical procedures and ask questions for the internet. The second benefit is providing clinical education to healthcare professionals. For example, some nurses who work in rural areas can use social media websites to assess online courses to make sure their registration is up to date despite of significant geographical distance. Another example can be we have nursing schools currently using social media in educating students. For example, tutors use media sharing websites like YouTube to illustrate a concept or stimulate students to discuss. Students watch the video, respond to activities, and all of this eventually improve their clinical practice. Lastly, acquiring healthcare information and medical resources. Nurses use social media to connect patients and provide them healthcare education. Patients can participate in virtual seminars, they can receive healthcare support, and track their personal physical progress through social media. Next, I want to talk about unethical uses of social media and healthcare. And the big issue is violation of the patient's confidentiality and privacy. The violation can be either intentional or inadvertent, and that can happen in many different ways. Some nurses may breach patient privacy with information they post on social media. For example, the nurse can post a photo or video of the patient without any valid consent. Or she can make a comment about the patient in a very degrading manner, or she may expose too many patient details that makes them be identified. Next, unethical use of social media in healthcare is distraction and interruption during work. A nurse disturbed by social media messages can make medication error that can cause severe damage to patient or even death. And lastly is cyberbullying. A nurse can make online comments about another nurse or coworker that may constitute lateral violence. Lateral violence includes disruptive behaviors of intimidation and bullying, which may occur either in person or through the internet. And such activity should alarm the current and future employees because they just may negatively affect team-based care and create patient safety ramifications. What are the regulatory bodies and ethical frameworks to protect PHI, personal health information? First is HIPAA. HIPAA stands for Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, and according to NCSBN, HIPAA regulations protect patient privacy and confidentiality by defining individually identifiable information and establishing how this information can be used by whom and under what circumstances. Next is HITECH Act, that stands for Health Information Technology for Economic and Clinical Health Act. And HITECH Act helped to promote and expand the adoption of health information technology, especially the use of EHRs by healthcare providers. This was achieved through financial incentives for adopting EHRs and increased penalties for violation of the HIPAA privacy and security rules. And lastly is Nursing Code of Ethics. This is the nationally accepted guide, the code ethic for nurses with interpretive statements issued by the American Nurse Association. Nursing Code of Ethics offers a framework to help nurses to ensure the safety of patients and healthcare providers. So almost every single day, nurses may face situations that require a strong understanding of ethics. And education and guides like this help nurses navigate murky waters in which the right thing to do is not always clear. Next slide is about legal consequences of unethical, illegal smartphone and social media use. Instances of inappropriate use of social and electronic media may include monetary fine, loss of licensure, civil and criminal penalties, possible jail time, employment termination, and damage the reputation of the healthcare organization. And here is the references that have been retrieved for this PowerPoint presentation. And thank you for your time, and I hope you find it helpful.